Welcome back to another episode of PokeFang Unpacked, where we unpack the latest news, updates, leaks, and rumors in the Pokemon TCG collecting hobby. Today we have the fourth and possibly final installment of the Shrouded Fable saga here on Unpacked. Some quick corrections here from the last video. We previously had 95 plus cards listed for Night Wanderer. Turns out there are 94 total cards, and we previously had 15 illustration rares listed, but we only got 12. And now that we have eyes on the full Night Wanderer set, we're going to take a look at some of the new artworks that have been revealed since our last episode in the series here, starting off with the Tapu Bulu, which appears to be guarding some sort of jungle temple of some kind. Hand-drawn illustration style. If I'm remembering my Tapus correctly, Tapu Bulu is the lazy one, so looks like it's guarding this jungle temple of some kind. I kind of like how it's the only thing that's has color that's not green, so it really like pops in the photo, or in the illustration I should say. Then we have the Cresselia right here, and my only complaints about this Cresselia, because it does look really nice, I'm sure it looks even nicer in person, is the fact that I really can't tell where it is or what's going on. I feel like there's not enough detail in the background. It's not doing enough to really like tell a story, and that's kind of my favorite part about the Pokemon artworks, is when they tell a story. We have also the Qfant, which is adorable, doing what little elephants do, splashing itself with water on a hot day. It's got a rainbow in the background there. Some nice little subtle reflections, definitely like a more artistic style. So I really haven't seen much of that photography style that I've really loved over the last few sets in Shrouded Fable. I don't know if that's going to continue, but I wish it would, because I think it looks awesome. Then we have this really nice looking Persian, and I've always been kind of a fan of the Persian cards, especially when they're paired up with Giovanni, but I like how this one is just sort of looking over a balcony. I don't know what city that's supposed to be, but it honestly reminds me of like France or something like that. But it is pretty cool to see like a character sort of illustrated from the back, because in reality, the only thing you see of Persian right here is sort of the back of its head and shoulders. You get the entire rest of the image in the reflection, which is kind of an interesting spin to put on it. So as far as illustration rares, that uncovers absolutely everything that's in Night Wanderer. So we still are missing 3 cards of the 15 expected illustration rares that are supposed to be in Shrouded Fable, but we have all the rest of the illustration rares that have been revealed in previous episodes, including that Houndoom, which I honestly think looks incredible, and the Dusk Noir evolution line, which comes together as a set. But I still really want to know what those last 3 illustration rares are going to be, if they're not going to be cards from Night Wanderer. Now, there are 3 cards that would perfectly fit into the theme of this set, being Petrant sort of legacy in the Teal Mask and Indigo Disc DLC, and the epilogue that comes after them. And that brings us back to the Okidogi, Monkey Dory, and Pheasantipity illustration rares, or art rares technically, that were printed in the Japanese set Mask of Change, that makes up 1/2 of the latest set Twilight Masquerade. We didn't end up getting those in Twilight Masquerade. I assumed that they were going to be pulled for promos potentially, similar to the Galarian birds that we got in the Crown Zenith run of special products. It just seems like it would make sense theme-wise for them to use these 3 as the illustration rare promos that we get in those tins. But technically, we didn't actually hear anything from the Pokemon Company about them doing tins for this set that would be featuring these Pokemon. This was just something that I had speculated very early on. So if we assume that this is not actually what they're going to do, and this is not what's going to happen, then we might actually see those 3 cards end up in Shrouded Fable in those last 3 spots of our illustration rares. Let me know in the comments if you guys think that's what's going to happen or not. But now let's go ahead and move on to our ultra rares. So this is our full arts as we formerly knew them in the Sword and Shield era. Starting off here, we have the new Kingdra full art, which is Kingdra. It looks really nice. It's going to be awesome for any Kingdra fans out there. We got an electric terraform of the Revavroom with that nice sort of like white shimmering cracked ice background and those little stars. Then we have 3 new ultra rares, which are actually a lot more interesting to me, because I did actually enjoy the DLC that featured Okidogi, Monkey Dory, and Pheasantipity. This is very much the theme of this entire set right here. So we do get full arts with them, each of them with their own special sort of background pattern, which really looks awesome. The colors look like they pop quite a bit. I don't mean to throw shade at the Kingdra or anything like that, but it is a blue Pokemon with a blue background, which kind of ends up leaving it a little bit flat looking, at least in this format. We don't know what it's going to look like in hand, but when you move on to the Okidogi, Monkey Dory, and Pheasantipity cards that we now have in the sets, they are a lot more interesting to me. I think the fact that they have such high contrast, as well as each one of them having their own unique background and being so incredibly colorful and saturated, these just look fantastic, and they're probably going to look really good in a binder as well. And then our final two ultra rares to be revealed are going to be the Pecharunt EX and Xerosik's Plan. I did suspect that we were going to see that card. Honestly, the Pecharunt looks fantastic. The Xerosik looks fantastic. If you're sort of new to the hobby and you don't know who Xerosik is a character from Generation 6, otherwise known as the X and Y era. He's a member of Team Flare and the head scientist of Lysander's lab. This guy is known for stealing Pokemon for research and is 100% villain coded, if you couldn't tell from the way that he looks. So the Japanese set Night Wanderer has 10 ultra rares. Shrouded Fable also is expected to have 10 ultra rares. So this is going to be all of the ultra rares for Shrouded Fable have officially been revealed in Japanese. If you don't know who some of these characters are and things like that, maybe go back to a couple episodes ago where I went over each one of their bios. Now, sort of the main event. This is the one thing that we're all really looking for with every new set that drops in the Scarlet Violet era. That's going to be the special illustration rares, or in this case, the special art rares from Night Wanderer. And we are getting an Okidogi, Munkidori, Pheasantipity, Pecharunt, and Cassiopeia. For those of you who don't know, is Penny's alias, if you remember Penny from some of the earlier Scarlet and Violet sets. And these are some really interesting illustration rares because there's just so much dark in the design itself. That's just a lot of black ink on these cards. I have seen people pull them a few times, and they are really beautiful cards, but they are very dark when you're holding them in your hand. But if I had to pick one that's going to be my absolute favorite, it's probably going to be the Okidogi. I do like the look of the Pecharunt as well, but I don't really have that much of an attachment to that Pokemon. Going with Penny / Cassiopeia as the only supporter in the illustration rares is sort of an interesting choice for this set because I don't know a ton of people that are actually super stoked or hyped about Cassiopeia. I don't know, there's a lot more characters in the games that have a much bigger, more interesting, and more attractive personality type, like say Iono or Perrin or Kieran, for example. Just wasn't all like that memorable to me, but let me know if you guys disagree. And weirdly enough, even though we're only expecting 5 illustration rares in Shrouded Fable, we are getting more illustration rares in Shrouded Fable. So we're getting them in the form of Black Star promos. If you saw some of the previous episodes, then you already know this, but we are getting a Greninja EX and a Kingdra EX in an absolutely beautiful Japanese art style. These are each coming in their own respective special collection box with an evolution line of promos. The best looking cards, in my opinion, for Shrouded Fable are going to be these Black Star promos that we get in these 2 boxes, which is a ridiculous thing to say. I can't believe that these are not actually going to be in the set. But if you're not a fan of this set, and you're not a fan of the Pokemon in this set, and you're not a fan of the lore, whatever the situation may be, these 2 cards are probably going to be the cards for you. The Greninja EX and the Kingdra EX that you can very easily get in these collection boxes, but these are honestly the best looking cards that we see in Shrouded Fable, and they are going to be Black Star promos, and that just sort of blows my mind. And we also technically have a 16th illustration rare in the form of the King Gambit Black Star promo that we get in the special collection box. Again, has a really gorgeous looking illustration style that sort of matches what we have with the Greninja and the Kingdra, but in the form of an illustration rare. And I really wish we got more artworks like this in the main set. And finally, we have our gold cards. We know that those are going to be the Pecharunt, the Earthen Vessel, and the Power Hourglass, but the other 2 cards are somewhat still up in the air. We don't know what they're going to be yet. There hasn't been anything confirmed, and being that they're not in the Japanese counterpart set Night Wanderer, we don't really have any way of knowing what those cards are going to be unless we do a little bit of detective work. And I went ahead and checked, and in the last 4 English sets that we have gotten from Paradox Rift, Paldean Fates, Temporal Forces, and Twilight Masquerade, we have not gotten any gold energy cards, and we had been getting them earlier in the Scarlet and Violet block. And you can see in the last 6 Japanese sets, we have not gotten any gold energies, and that's because we have all of the gold energies in Japanese. We just don't have them in English yet. So which ones exactly are we missing? So starting off with Scarlet and Violet base set, we have Scarlet EX and Violet EX. So we had the fighting type energy to support the Koraidon, which also got a gold card, and we got the lightning type energy to support the Miraidon, which also got a gold card. And then in Scarlet and Violet, in English, we end up getting both of those gold energies to support, obviously, the Koraidon and the Miraidon. And then moving forward, In Snow Hazard and Clay Burst Japanese sets, we got the water and grass type energies. And this one's interesting because the water type energy is very much there to support the Chi and Pao, which also got a gold card, full art and alternate art in this set. Now, Clay Burst was mostly centered around Ting Lu, but we didn't get a fighting type gold card because we got it in the base set. So the grass type energy right here is actually kind of a wild card, but we did get it in Paldea Evolved, even though there's not really any Pokemon that would benefit from a gold grass type energy in Paldea Evolved, aside from maybe the Fortress. But I just wanted to point this out because it does actually show us that we will get these energy cards kind of randomly sometimes. Right here with Ruler of the Black Flame, the Japanese set that makes up Obsidian Flames, we obviously was a Charizard set. We got a gold Charizard and we got a gold Fire energy to support that. Moving on to 151, same situation. The set features Mew very heavily, and Mew also got a gold card, and we got a Psychic gold card to go along with that. But then this is where things sort of took a turn. Paradox Rift actually had 3 different Japanese sets that made it up. So that was Ancient Roar, Future Flash, and Raging Surf. Sort of the flagship Pokemon of Ancient Roar was Roaring Moon. So it makes sense that we got a gold Darkness type energy to support that card. And then in Future Flash, we ended up getting a gold metal energy that doesn't seem to really have a place. It's similar to the grass type energy being in Clay Burst. The main Pokemon featured in Future Flash would have been Iron Valiant, which would have not benefited from this metal type energy. So again, this one is an outlier. However, unlike Paldea Evolved, which did take the grass type energy and move it over into the set, we didn't get either of these gold energy cards in Paradox Rift. And then for the remainder of the sets all the way up to where we are right now with Twilight Masquerade, we didn't get any gold energies at all. So seeing as the Japanese sets have no reason to be printing these gold cards twice, and we haven't used them yet in the English set, and seeing how heavy-handed Shrouded Fable is with the dark type Pokemon, it only makes sense for them to include the dark type gold energy in this set to support it. As far as the metal energy is concerned, I have a feeling we're going to get basically what happened here with Paldea Evolved, which is we have the gold card, it's been printed in Japanese, and we're just going to move it over to English, even though there's not really a card in that set that can really benefit from it. So I'm not a gambling man, but if I was placing bets on what 2 cards we were going to see in these final 2 spots, it would be this darkness energy and this metal energy that we haven't had printed in English going to fill those final 2 spots in the Shrouded Fable lineup, which concludes our series on Shrouded Fable now that we have basically revealed pretty much every card that's in this set. The only thing we have left to do is confirm whether or not these last 2 cards here are correct and whether or not, and if the final 3 illustration rares are going to be the Okidogi, the Monkey Dory, and the Pheasantipity. But otherwise, that does it for the Unpacked Shrouded Fable series here, and we're going to be moving on now to Indigo Disc content. We've already seen pretty far down the Japanese pipeline through Stellar Miracle, Paradise Dragona, Super Electric Breaker, and Terrestrial Festival, as well as possibly a Team Rocket set coming up called The Glory of Team Rocket. That's the Japanese name. We don't know what it's going to be in English, but everything that you see on these slides right here is getting prepared for upcoming videos, so make sure you are subscribed with notifications on so you don't miss those. The next multi-part series here that we kick off on Unpacked is going to be centered around Stellar Miracle, or what we now know is going to be called Stellar Crown here in English. Plenty of exciting pack openings and things on the way. We've got 2 boxes of Night Wanderer to try and pull some of the artworks you saw today. Hit that like button to let me know that you guys are enjoying the series. I'll catch you in the next one. And as always, happy haunting, Fang Gang.